We already promised Sarah it's hers, Mom declared, stirring her coffee with unnecessary force. Your sister has 3 kids, and you're just one person in that massive beach house. It's practically empty. I sat quietly at my parents' kitchen table, the same spot where I'd endured countless family lectures over the years. The morning sun filtered through the bay windows, casting long shadows across the granite countertops. Dad stood behind Mom, arms crossed, wearing his signature disappointment expression. You don't even use it most of the year. Sarah chimed in from across the table, her designer purse placed strategically to display the logo. The kids would love growing up by the beach. It's the perfect solution. Perfect for whom? I thought, maintaining my calm exterior while reaching for my phone. Look, James, Dad started, using his executive boardroom voice. Your sister's going through a rough patch since the divorce. The kids need stability. That house is way too big for a single man. Be reasonable. The irony wasn't lost on me. 3 years ago, when I bought the property, they'd called it a foolish investment. What does an IT consultant need with a beach house? They'd scoffed. Now suddenly it was the perfect family home for Sarah. I checked my watch, 9:58 a.m. Right on schedule. And honestly, Sarah continued, her voice taking on that familiar condescending tone, you're barely making ends meet with your little computer job. The property taxes alone must be killing you. I'd be doing you a favor by taking it off your hands. My phone buzzed. Right on time. Excuse me, I said, putting the call on speaker. Good morning, Mrs. Thompson. Good morning, Mr. Harrison. My property manager's crisp voice filled the kitchen. I'm calling to confirm the final details for the luxury resort conversion. The contractors are ready to begin tomorrow, and the first phase of renovations. The color drained from Sarah's face. Mom's coffee spoon clattered against her cup. The what? Sarah shrieked. I held up a finger, continuing my conversation. Yes, all 50 rooms are on schedule for the summer season opening. The spa facilities and restaurant renovations should be completed by what resort? Dad's voice boomed. I calmly finished my call with Mrs. Thompson, then faced my stunned family. Oh, did I forget to mention? The beach house is being converted into a boutique resort. The permits were approved last month. You can't do this. Sarah slammed her hand on the table. We already told the kids about their new home by the beach. Actually, I pulled out my tablet, opening a folder of documents. I can and I am. You see, while you all thought I was barely making ends meet with my little computer job, I've been building something quite different. I pulled up the first document, incorporation papers for Harrison Global Technologies, a multinational IT security firm. My firm. The one I'd built from scratch while living modestly and reinvesting every penny. That beach house. It's just one of 17 properties in my hospitality division. The little computer job you've been mocking. I'm the CEO of a company that provides cybersecurity for half the Fortune 500. Mom's coffee cup stopped halfway to her lips. Dad's authoritative stance faltered. But you drive a 10-year-old car. Sarah stuttered. You live in that small apartment. Because I'm not interested in showing off. I replied. I'm interested in building something meaningful. Speaking of which, I pulled up another document. Sarah, remember last month when you tried to get your new consulting firm hired by Standard Corp? She nodded slowly, confusion evident on her face. They went with a different security provider instead. Mine, actually. We've had their contract for 3 years. I allowed myself a small smile. That little brother who doesn't understand businesses you keep talking about. I'm your biggest competitor. The silence in the kitchen was deafening. Mom set down her coffee cup with shaking hands. Dad's face had lost its authoritative mask, replaced by something between shock and dawning realization. Now, I continued, standing up and straightening my jacket, I have a board meeting to attend. The resort conversion begins tomorrow. If you'd like to book a room once it's open, I'm sure Mrs. Thompson would be happy to help. James, wait, Dad started, his voice lacking its usual confidence. We should discuss this as a family. We are discussing it, I replied. I'm informing you of my business decisions regarding my property, just like you've been making decisions about my property without consulting me. Sarah's face flushed red. But the kids should learn early that they're not entitled to other people's property. I finished. That's a valuable lesson, don't you think? I headed for the door, then paused. Oh, and Sarah, that partnership offer Standard Corp is considering for their Asian expansion. They're announcing their decision next week. I wonder who they'll choose. The door closed behind me, cutting off the chaos erupting in the kitchen. As I walked to my 10-year-old car, a perfectly reliable vehicle I saw no reason to replace, I couldn't help but smile. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success, it's revealing that success at exactly the right moment. The board meeting at Harrison Global Technologies' downtown headquarters went exactly as planned. As I sat at the head of the glass conference table on the 47th floor, overlooking the city skyline, my phone kept buzzing with messages from family members. I ignored them all. Mr. Harrison, my executive assistant Thomas knocked and entered. Your sister is in the lobby. She's quite insistent about seeing you. I glanced at the security feed on my tablet. Sarah was indeed there. Designer handbag clutched tightly, arguing with reception. Let her wait for exactly 20 minutes. Then send her up. Yes, sir. And your parents are trying to reach the property manager about the beach house. Mrs. Thompson knows the protocol. I smiled. No discussions without written authorization from me. Those 20 minutes gave Sarah plenty of time to absorb her surroundings. Our lobby, with its 40-foot ceilings and digital art installations, hardly suggested a little computer job. The continuous flow of international executives and the wall of global awards told their own story. When Sarah was finally escorted in, her expression had shifted from indignant to uncertain. Your office is bigger than Mom and Dad's house, she said, taking in the panoramic views and modern decor. Have a seat. I gestured to one of the leather chairs. I assume this is about Standard Corp. How long? She demanded. How long have you been this? She gestured at the office, the view, the evident success. Remember when I moved into that tiny apartment 6 years ago? That was when I landed my first major contract. Everyone thought I was downsizing because I was struggling. I was actually investing everything into the company. While driving that old car and wearing off-the-rack suits, she muttered. Which left me with capital to acquire 17 properties, including that beach house you felt entitled to. I pulled up some documents on the large wall screen. Speaking of which, here are the projected revenues for the resort conversion. Sarah's eyes widened at the numbers. That's more than your consulting firm's entire annual revenue. Yes, I switched to another document. And here's something interesting. A list of clients considering switching their contracts from your firm to mine. Her face paled. I wouldn't have to do anything. Your firm's reputation is already suffering after the data core incident last quarter. Clients are nervous. That wasn't our fault. The breach was. She stopped, realization dawning. You knew about that vulnerability. My team identified it 3 months before the breach. We warned all our clients. They protected themselves. Your clients didn't have that advantage. Sarah slumped in her chair. So you're going to destroy my business? Because Mom and Dad tried to give your beach house to me. Actually, I turned off the screen. I'm offering you a choice. Harrison Global can acquire your firm at a fair market value. Your clients get better security, your employees keep their jobs, and you get a comfortable exit. Or, watch your clients leave one by one as they realize your firm can't provide the protection they need. Business isn't personal, Sarah, but trying to take my property, that was personal. She was quiet for a long moment, designer bag forgotten in her lap. The acquisition, would it include a position here? Executive VP of Client Relations. Your networking skills are excellent, even if your technical infrastructure isn't. But, I held up a hand, there are conditions. Of course there are, she sighed. First, you buy your own house. No more expecting family handouts. Second, you earn your position here. No special treatment. Third, I smiled. You explain to your kids why attempting to take others' property is wrong. And Mom and Dad, they'll learn about the true scope of Harrison Global tomorrow, when we announce the Standard Corp partnership. I'm sure Dad's business friends will be very interested to learn who's been protecting their company's data. Sarah stood, smoothing her skirt with shaking hands. I'll need to discuss the acquisition with my board. You have until Friday. After that, the Standard Corp announcement goes public, and your negotiating position becomes significantly weaker. As she reached the door, she paused. The beach house, you never intended to live there, did you? It was always meant to be a resort. Just like that small apartments contains a secure data center in the sub-basement. Appearances can be deceiving, sister dear. After she left, I called Mrs. Thompson. How are the preparations going? The construction team is ready. Your parents have called 8 times. Perfect. Proceed as planned. And Mrs. Thompson, make sure the local business journal gets those photos of the resort plans. I believe Dad's country club friends will find them very interesting. I ended the call and looked out over the city. 6 years of careful planning, of living modestly while building an empire in secret, had led to this moment. Tomorrow Harrison Global would announce its biggest partnership yet. The resort plans would go public, and my family would finally understand that their struggling son had outmaneuvered them all. The thought brought a smile to my face as I turned back to my work. After all, success is the best revenge, but timing is everything. The next morning, the business world woke up to headlines that sent shockwaves through the industry. Harrison Global Technologies secures $4.2 billion Standard Corp partnership. Tech's hidden giant, the billion-dollar empire no one saw coming. Beach house to boutique, Harrison's luxury resort. Transformation. I sat in my home office, watching the chaos unfold on multiple screens. The apartment my family had mocked as tiny occupied the entire top floor of the building I owned. Behind the modest decor lay a command center that would make tech giants envious. My phone rang. Dad, the journal just called me, he said, his voice uncharacteristically uncertain. They want to comment about my son's revolutionary approach to cybersecurity and how I guided your early career. Fascinating, I replied, checking the markets. Harrison Global's stock had jumped 12% in the first hour. What did you tell them about all that guidance you provided? James, he paused. The partners at my firm are asking questions. They want to know why we're not using Harrison Global for our security. Ah yes, you went with Sarah's firm instead. How's that working out? The silence was telling. The Standard Corp partnership goes public in an hour, I continued. After that, your firm's clients might start asking similar questions. Especially about that data breach last quarter that your current security provider missed. What do you want? His executive voice had given way to something closer to pleading. Want, nothing. But if your firm would like to discuss our enterprise security package, I'll have my team send over the details. Standard rates, of course. No family discount. I ended the call and turned to my other screens. The resort plans had leaked to the local media, exactly as planned. The architectural renderings showed a stunning transformation of the beach house into an exclusive boutique hotel. The same property they'd tried to hand over to Sarah would now generate millions in annual revenue. My phone buzzed again. Mom this time. But I let it go to voicemail. Her message was predictable. Family should come first. Why didn't I tell them? How could I embarrass them like this? A notification popped up. Sarah's firm had called an emergency board meeting. They'd seen the writing on the wall. The acquisition would proceed, but now on my terms entirely. Mrs. Thompson's face appeared on my screen. Mr. Harrison, the construction teams are in place. The media is covering the start of renovations. Your family is attempting to reach the site. Perfect timing, I smiled. Proceed with the press conference. And Mrs. Thompson, make sure the cameras catch everything. I switched to the live feed from the beach house. A small crowd had gathered, local media, business representatives, and yes, my entire family standing off to the side looking shell-shocked. The press conference began. Mrs. Thompson, elegant and professional, outlined the vision for the Harrison Coastal Resort and Spa. Behind her, construction crews began their work, physically transforming the property my family had tried to claim. Mr. Harrison's investment in our community, Mrs. Thompson was saying when Sarah's voice cut through the crowd. But what about my children? She called out. He promised. I never promised anything, I replied, stepping out of my car. I'd timed my arrival perfectly. In fact, this project has been in development for 2 years. The cameras swiveled to capture the family drama. Dad stepped forward, trying to salvage something. Son, if we'd known. Known what? That your struggling son built a billion-dollar company. That the beach house you tried to give away was part of a larger business plan. That the son you dismissed as having a little computer job provides cybersecurity for half your business partners. The reporters' cameras clicked frantically. Tomorrow's headlines were writing themselves. Perhaps, I continued, loud enough for everyone to hear, this can be a valuable lesson about assumptions and entitlement. The Harrison Coastal Resort and Spa will create 300 local jobs and generate significant revenue for the community. It was never meant to be a family handout. Mom stepped forward, tears in her eyes. James, please, the time for family discussions was before you tried to give away my property. I replied calmly. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a press conference to conduct. As I walked toward the podium, I heard Dad's phone ring. Probably another business partner wondering why they hadn't known about Harrison Global's capabilities. The next hour was a blur of announcements. The resort plans, the Standard Corp partnership, Harrison Global's expansion into international markets. With each revelation, I watched my family's expressions shift from shock to realization to regret. When the press conference ended, Sarah approached me, her designer bag notably absent. The board accepted your offer, she said quietly. We're ready to discuss the acquisition. Excellent. Have them contact our legal team. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Sarah, you might want to start house hunting. I hear there are some lovely properties available. Inland. As I drove back to my modest apartment in my 10-year-old car, I couldn't help but smile. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just proving people wrong, it's letting them discover exactly how wrong they were, in the most public way possible. The final pieces were falling into place. Tomorrow the business world would be discussing Harrison Global's meteoric rise. My family would be facing questions from their social circle about how they'd missed the signs. And I would be in my office continuing to build my empire, one careful step at a time. After all, success isn't just about what you build, it's about how you reveal it. 1 month later, I sat in my office reviewing the final acquisition papers for Sarah's company. The headlines had died down, but the impact of my revelations continued to ripple through both business and family circles. My phone buzzed, a message from Mrs. Thompson. Resort construction ahead of schedule. Your family's standing reservation request. I smiled, remembering the email Mom had sent last week, trying to secure family privileges at the resort. Standard booking procedures apply. No exceptions, I typed back. A knock at my door interrupted my thoughts. Thomas entered with a stack of magazines. The latest coverage, sir. Forbes, Fortune, Business Insider, all featuring Harrison Global's emergence as a tech powerhouse. The beach resort plans had become a case study in strategic development. My modest lifestyle, despite success, was being hailed as a new model of business leadership. Dad's law firm had signed with Harrison Global last week, at full price. Their clients had insisted after the Standard Corp announcement. He tried to schedule a private dinner to discuss family matters, but I'd had my assistant refer him to our client relations department. Sarah's acquisition was finalizing today. She'd accepted the VP position, complete with standard performance metrics and no special treatment. Her kids had started at public school after she downsized to a reasonable house within her new salary range. My office phone lit up. Mom again. This time, I answered. The country club is hosting their annual charity gala, she began without preamble. They've requested Harrison Global as the main sponsor. They can submit a formal request through our charitable foundation, I replied. Standard procedure. James, her voice softened. Can't we discuss this as a family? Your father's friends keep asking how you missed your son building a billion-dollar company, or why you tried to give away a property that was part of a major business development. The silence was telling. The resort opens in 6 months, I continued. You're welcome to book a room, miss, at standard rates. The charitable foundation will consider the gala sponsorship request. And Sarah starts her new position next week, reporting to the VP of operations like any other executive. And family dinners. When you understand that my success doesn't make my property community assets, we can discuss family gatherings. Until then, I have a company to run. After hanging up, I turned to the wall of windows, looking out at the city where I'd built my empire in secret. The old car I'd driven for years was now part of company lore. The CEO who valued substance over show. My tiny apartment had been featured in Business Monthly as a tech command center disguised as modest living. Thomas appeared again. Sir, the final papers for the resort naming rights have arrived. I signed where indicated, making it official. The Harrison Innovation Resort and Conference Center. Not a family beach house, but a cutting-edge facility that would host tech summits and business leaders from around the world. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Sarah. First day orientation schedule confirmed. Thank you for the opportunity. At least someone had learned the lesson. I opened my laptop to review the quarterly projection.
Bet.
Harrison Global's stock had stabilized at triple its pre-revelation value. The Standard Corp partnership had opened doors across Asia and Europe. And my family, well, they were finally learning that success doesn't mean owing anyone anything. The sun was setting over the city as I finished my workday. I took the private elevator to my modest apartment, smiled at the hidden security features and state-of-the-art systems humming behind the simple decor. On my dining table sat an invitation to next month's Technology Leadership Awards. Harrison Global was nominated in 6 categories. I'd attend, of course, in my usual simple suit, driving my practical car. But now everyone would know that beneath the modest exterior lay one of the most powerful tech companies in the world. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just proving people wrong. It's showing them that while they were busy making assumptions, you were quietly building an empire. And the property they tried to claim, it was just one small piece in a much grander plan. As night fell over the city, I raised a glass to success served cold and perfectly timed.